Hello, please come on in and have a seat. Now, when we spoke on the phone, you said that you were interested in a very pirate-themed wedding. So, just for the fun of it, I did go a little piratey for this meeting, and I can see that you did as well. So, we're all in sync here, which is wonderful. Now, after our initial conversation, I did take the liberty of coming up with a few preliminary ideas that I would like to run by you and let me know what you would like to have in your wedding. And I also have a few different questions that I'm going to be needing to ask you about venues and food and things like that. So I'm just going to go ahead and pull up my file for you and we can get started with planning your day, okay? Great. Alright, now, since this is a pirate-themed wedding, it does present the question of whether you would like to have this wedding on land or actually on the water. You think you'd prefer to do it on land? Okay, that's actually probably a really good idea because nothing ruins a wedding like a bunch of guests getting seasick, so we'll definitely plan for a land wedding then. Let's see. Okay, so as far as land venues, there are several Renaissance festivals that I am aware of that will rent out their area as a wedding space during the off-festival season. If you would be interested in something like that, I can pull up a few and you can tell me which one sounds good to you. You would like to do that? Okay, let's see. Okay, there is one about 20 miles from your current location, and they offer a very large thatch hut that would be large enough to accommodate you and all of your guests. You're looking for something a little fancier than that? Okay, let's see here. Okay, there is a festival 50 miles from your location that will offer you an entire village square, so you can use all the buildings in the village square for your wedding. That sounds pretty good, but you'd like to know what else is out there? Okay. Oh, this looks promising. About 100 miles from your location, so it is going to be a little bit of a travel, obviously, but 100 miles from your location, there is a venue that has a full-size pirate ship, but it's built safely on land, and you can use that as your wedding venue. That sounds great. Okay, shall I go ahead and book that for you? Okay. And what is the exact date of your wedding? Okay. And how many days would you like to book the pirate ship for? Okay. Accommodations? Well, the captain's cabin would be suitable for the two of you. It's got lovely pirate-style furnishing, so it might be a fun place to spend a couple of nights as a newly married couple. And then you are able to use the rest of the buildings at the festival to accommodate your other guests. However, the buildings are not exactly warm. Most of them don't actually have doors and things like that, so they may not be something that all of your guests want to stay in. However, they are part of your wedding package, so might as well use them, I suppose. Yes, there are hotels nearby as well. Within about 30 minutes of the festival grounds, there are several hotels available. Where would you prefer to have your guests lodge? A little bit of both, depending on the particular guest. Okay, that sounds great. I suppose that the two of you will kind of want to handle that, since you'll know who's going to want to stay on the fairgrounds and who's going to want to stay in a cushy hotel. Okay, great. Now, obviously the two of you will be dressed as pirates, and I'm assuming the entire wedding party will as well. Okay. And do you already have all the costumes picked out? Do you know what you're doing there? Or would you like me to recommend a good costume shop? That's already all taken care of? Okay, great. You guys are right on top of it, aren't you? Now, what will the dress code be for the guests? I'm assuming pirate themed as well. Do you want everyone to come wearing a costume? You do, okay. And will you be providing the costumes for the guests, or will they be providing their own? They'll be providing their own? Okay. Yeah, it's usually not too expensive. I mean, there are, of course, levels of costumery. Just a basic pirate costume isn't going to be that expensive. If they want to get really crazy and really into it and be very authentic, then it can get a little more expensive, but the way you're doing it is perfect. It'll be up to the guests how much money they want to spend on their attire, so I think you're doing it a very wise way. And are you interested in allowing wenches as well, like wench costumes, or just pirates? Both are fine? Okay, great. And so that brings me to invitations. I assume that you, of course, want them to say to arrive in costumes, but to dress according to their comfort, of course. Okay. As long as it's a comfortable costume, right? And what time shall I have listed on the invitations? Okay. Now, the invitations themselves will be printed on tea-stained paper so that they look old and piratey. And then on the front side, we'll have all the details of the wedding and the costumes that they're supposed to wear and all of that. And the back side of the invitation will have a cute little treasure map with an X over where the venue space is. Yes, just start it right off with that piratey feeling. Would you like any fake blood on the invitations? That is an option. You think that's too zombie? Okay, so no blood on the invitations. Now, the venue has a strict no real weapons policy, so all of your pirate friends and family will have to leave the real weapons at home and just use plastic swords and plastic flintlocks if they are so inclined to bring such props, okay? You want that on the invitations as well, so there's no misunderstandings? Okay, probably a good idea. And of course, all the wording on the invitations will be in very piratey language, you know, ye and ar and matey and all of that to give it that piratey feel. Now, As far as the seating, it probably makes the most sense to have the actual ceremony up on the quarterdeck near the helm, and to have all the guests sitting down on the main deck, and they can kind of look up and watch the two of you tie the knot. There should be enough room up there for the entire wedding party, and of course your minister. And in the event of rain, we can always just have everyone go below deck, but hopefully the weather will be fine and you'll be able to get married on the quarterdeck with everyone sitting on the main deck to watch. One of the suggestions that I had pondered was we should probably have the minister dressed as a captain of a ship, just because of that whole kind of traditional belief that a ship's captain was able to marry people. It would be kind of a cute little thing to tie into the wedding. You like that idea? Okay. And then, of course, we will have a Jolly Roger flying on the ship so that it can show up in all the wedding photographs. And a fun thing for the wedding party could be that you all walk the plank after the ceremony. Of course, we'll have soft landing below the plank, but it might be very cute to have the two of you get married, and then you and the minister and the entire wedding party, you all just walk the plank, and then of course you can rejoin everyone, all the guests below deck, for the actual reception and dining. You really like the sound of that too? Okay. Now, do you already have a caterer? You do not. Okay, well, I'm going to recommend someone. She's a wonderful caterer, and she can certainly accommodate the pirate theme. I'm just going to put her in the notes here if you're all right with that. Do you want to meet with her ahead of time, or do you just want to take my word for it that she cooks very well? You're okay with just letting me handle that? Okay, I'll just put her in the wedding file then. Now, of course, the appetizers can be all sea themed, so you could do clams and crab cakes, and you could do nori biscuits for the vegetarians. What is nori? It's a type of seaweed, so it makes delicious biscuits, and they're actually rather healthy as well, so a great plus for something at a wedding. Sounds good? Okay. So for entrees, for the main meal, we could do lobster and, of course, turkey legs because they always look very piratey. Some various breads and fish and pasta dishes for the vegetarians. Is there anything in particular that you would like that maybe I haven't mentioned? No, that all sounds good? Okay, great. Put that in there. Now, being a pirate-themed wedding, we of course need to have some pirate-themed drinks. So we'll have some mead and some ale and some rum, of course. We'll also have a few non-alcoholic drinks for those who aren't drinking. We can do some sweet cider and some grape juice because those will, the color of those will look really good in glasses, just like the alcoholic beverages will. And speaking of glasses, we could use some of those very large, thick goblets as the drinking glasses, and some metal plates to complete the pirate feeling effect. You really like that idea? Okay, great. Now, for the dessert, you'll of course be needing a cake, and a few other things for people who don't want to eat wedding cake. Do you have a baker in mind, or would you like me to recommend one of those as well? You'd like me to recommend one? Okay, let me see. Who do I have in my files? Okay, this baker is perfect. They've done a million different themed cakes, so they can pretty much make anything that you want. So if that sounds good, I'll go ahead and stick them in the wedding file for you. Sounds perfect. Okay. Now, for presentation, we should of course have a treasure chest, and I assume you'll want something, cupcakes or truffles or something like that, something differently flavored than the wedding cake. You'd like a bunch of different flavors of cupcakes? Okay, well that sounds like a great idea. And we could stick them in the treasure chest on various levels, so your guests can come and pull dessert right out of the treasure chest. That sounds great. Okay. Now, for the most important part, the main wedding cake, there's various options. You could have a multi-layered Jolly Roger printed cake with the little pirate couple on top. You could do a cake with a treasure map on it. You could do a cake in the shape of a ship. Obviously, the more complex, the more expensive it's going to get, but yeah, sure, you can choose more than one type of cake. You want to combine various elements on different layers. Okay, what would you like the base layer to be? Kind of ocean waves? You want like an anchor or starfish or something on there? Yeah, some water plants and an anchor and undersea creatures. Okay. And then for the second layer, you want the second layer to be the treasure map. Okay. And then how about the top layer? A small pirate ship with 2 pirate skulls in a treasure chest. Okay, very complex, interesting. And the words "till death do us part." Oh, that's very cute. Okay, I can see what you're getting at here. And so, of course, the music should all be piratey themed. Do you already have a DJ, or would you like me to recommend one? Your mom's cousin is going to be doing your DJ services? Okay, and what is his name so I can put him in the wedding file? Okay, great. And so, of course, I'm sure that he has a wonderful playlist that includes lots of piratey songs, right? Yeah, some bands that immediately spring to mind are The Longest Johns, Dread Crew of Oddwood, Ailstorm. There's a whole slew of wonderful piratey bands. Some, like the pirate metal bands. Yes, that's actually a thing. Should be played a little later in the night probably, but like the Longest Johns have some very nice kind of folksy, piratey songs. It would be great for the earlier part of the evening. Speaking of piratey songs, what do you want your first dance song to be for the two of you? Hoist the Colors. Okay, stick that in your file. Kind of a interesting choice, but should be a lot of fun to dance to. Now, for the wedding favors, I was thinking pirate's booty, so we could do little satchels of kind of some tattered fabric, and they could contain some, gold foil wrapped chocolate coins, a skull candle, and a keychain compass. So just kind of some useful things that people can actually use, but they're still fun little piratey themed favors that they'll think of the two of you whenever they use them. You like those ideas? Okay. And is there anything else you'd like to have in the favor bags? You think that's probably good? Okay, and how many guests do you have in total? I don't think I asked that yet. Just so I know how many favor bags and chairs, things like that to set out. Okay, so medium-sized wedding. Yeah, okay. Okay, so I think that's all the main details that spring to mind. Is there anything else that you can think of that I either haven't asked about or just something you really want in the wedding? Nothing that comes to mind? Okay, well, if something comes up later, you can always call me and I can add it into the wedding file. But for now, I'm going to go ahead and get this in motion and get your big day, get everything ready for your big day, okay? Great, and I'll be talking to you soon. Stay in touch with you throughout this entire process, okay? So, thank you for coming in today, and I hope that your wedding is as wonderful as you've been dreaming of.